the dream of Vegapunk is... He must be looking for answers.
Yes, it is time.
Wait, what is your name?
I am 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛.
King of the snipers. You're right. There's no doubt about it. That's Usopp. I told you. Got the captain's note, right?
Yep, that's me. It's your boy Young Usopp back at it again. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with a couple friends.
Yeah, it's your boy Young Usopp.
Yo, what is up, guys?
It's
your boy
Young Usopp.
and I'm back again for another video. Listen, y'all. And this chapter is about chapter 1068, and it's titled A Genius's Dream. And the cover page is of Caesar and Judge. And as we know, this is 𝙲𝚘𝚎𝚑𝚝 Emotionless Voyage. And this is volume 26. And it says, these two once belonged to an organization called MADS. So hopefully with this next cover page that we get with chapter 1069, we get them working together possibly, because obviously we see in this cover page that they beat each other up. They both have knots on their head. They both look upset at each other because Judge definitely knows who Caesar is, unlike the last cover story when he was saying, who are you again? He knows exactly who he is. It seems like they have beef between one another. It seems like everybody in the MADS project or MADS organization has some type of anger towards other members of this group, and I'm really curious as to why they all are like this between one another. Because remember, we saw this with Queen talking about Judge. But let's get back to the main story. So starting off with this chapter, we are on the CP0 boat, and Rob Lucci is wondering if Egghead Island and all the Vegapunks realize that they're there to kill them. And honestly, the only one that knows this is the real Vegapunk. So Rob Lucci and Shock are going back and forth. He's saying that they sent 2 boats over to the island and they did not come back, but in reality they actually did. But as we read on the story, this is actually a tactic used by Rob Lucci in order to get onto the island, because he's just trying to make any excuse to make sure that it's within their jurisdiction, or that they're actually able to get into the island without having to fight off these robots. And Lilith, she's getting upset. She's like, I'm gonna let you guys onto this island so you could see for yourself. But then Vegapunk Pythagoras is like, that's not a good idea. We already know what they're probably here for, and we already know what they're probably gonna try and do. So as we know with CP0 and the Cypher Pole agency, they learn how to airwalk. So Rob Lucci tells his crew, like, forget about this boat, we're gonna airwalk over to the island and we're gonna get on there because they're gonna destroy this ship of ours with those giant sea kings that are cyborgs. So obviously the CP0 or the Cypher Pole agency has been on this island countless times and have encountered these machines. So after that, we meet up with the Revolutionary Army again, and we are on Kamabaka Island with Kuma, Dragon, and the Revolutionary Army. And Kuma is still running, everybody's chasing after him, and all of a sudden Kuma uses his devil fruit power in order to bring himself to somewhere, because just like he did with the Straw Hats when he brought them to their individual islands after the arc of Sabaody. And Dragon seems a little bit confused, like I'm pretty sure he's thinking like Kuma is still in there, he still has his conscience, because if he was a robot, how would he be able to, if he didn't have a conscience, if he was a robot, how would he be able to use his devil fruit power to bring him somewhere that he knows? So I honestly can't wait to see him pop up on Egghead Island, because he knows his daughter is in trouble. And I'm telling you guys, it's due to this Seraphim that is with Cypher Pole. It's just like the satellites that were used with Vegapunk, right? Kuma is connected to his Seraphim, and that has to be true, because Vegapunk would not just let his friend, his longtime friend, die or become a robot that doesn't have a conscience if he has a family, if he has an organization that he's in, if he's actually his friend. So now we are back on Egghead Island with Luffy, Jinbei, Bonnie, Chopper, and the original OG, Vegapunk. And just like every character seems to do with Luffy, Vegapunk is telling Luffy his dream. And so this man's dream is that one day he wants to create a kind of world with science, a world where energy is widespread all over the world, free of charge. And just as he's telling these individuals his dream, Luffy is just picking his nose as he usually does. He's just like, huh? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And then Vegapunk's like, were you even listening, dude? And Jinbei says, the resources that produce energy are fought over by many countries, which then becomes the seed for war. And Vegapunk's like, yes, you're right. Humans are such foolish beings. You can feel energy here, over there, and everywhere else. Even though the world is full of it, if I can convert it to visible power, the large fuse of war will be erased from the world. Surely science will reach that point one day. So it seems like Luffy was actually listening. He says, I think a person that can make everyone happy is good, but I'm not interested in being a hero though. And he says, moving on, why do you want to leave this place so bad? And Vegapunk says, the more I try to create this energy I seek, the dynamic power source that was able to power this ancient robot soldier, I've gotten so close to finding out about that ancient energy. It is my nature as a scientist that I want to take a peek at it. If I unravel the strings of the forbidden history, what on earth will I comprehend? In the course of inheriting my friend's will, I am quickly getting closer to the truth. And with him saying this, I'm honestly thinking that the ancient kingdom was able to use a power source that powered the whole entire world, but the world government had definitely done something or taken the scientists that knew about these power sources and monopolized it in this way. And they've probably been doing this for generations and generations, ever since the ancient kingdom went down for good. But honestly, we don't know much about the ancient kingdom, but everything in the story is making it seem like once the world government was established, the world went into turmoil. Fishmen, all these different races were experiencing racism and also became slaves or have been eradicated off of the earth, which might not mean that they all got killed, but also might mean that they live on a different planet or just on a different moon. So as they're talking, there's a large explosion, which, as we know, it's CP0 getting onto the island, and they're wreaking havoc because they're trying to find Vegapunk and they're trying to destroy these individuals. So as they're talking, Vegapunk's saying, just to put it short, since all this turmoil is happening right now, all this action is happening on the island, I need you to take me off the island, because since I know this knowledge, since I'm trying to bring this energy source and everything, since I'm living with the will of Ohara, they're gonna try and kill me, and they're trying to do that right this very second, so please take me off the island. And Luffy says, okay, but who is CP0? I thought there was only CP9. And Jinbei tells Luffy they're at the top of Cipher Pole. It is said to be an omen of occurrence or a major historical event. So I'm guessing that Luffy didn't know that CP0 interfered with his fight with Kaido when the man with the mask went over there and used his iron body to block Luffy's attack. And we still don't know what happened to that guy, but hopefully we'll get some information on him with the anime. So as we see with this new panel, CP0 is on the island with the Seraphim Kuma, and the Vegapunks are deploying Seraphim Snake, Seraphim Hawk, and Seraphim Shark, which has to be Mihawk, Jinbei, and Boa Hancock Seraphims. So as we see within this panel, we also see 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒. And I honestly thought that 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢 only worked for the government and was just watching Vegapunk for the government. But we see that he is just working with Dr. Vegapunk. So if his uncle is Kizaru, what does that have to say about Kizaru? Is Kizaru actually someone that works with Vegapunk as well? Or is he just an admiral with the world government and the Marines? So I'm honestly very curious about that, but 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢 seems very dedicated to working with Vegapunk. So as we know, Luffy said yes to Vegapunk getting on this ship and escaping with them, and Luffy's reasoning was because he has a funny head, and Chopper's obviously like, how is that the reason and why? So Vegapunk just disappears, saying that he'll meet them in the labo phase, and it was as if he was a hologram. So I'm wondering if this was the real Vegapunk, or if it's just a hologram, just like the monsters that are in the city area that we saw that were just holograms, but they felt real. You're able to hit you or something like that, but you couldn't attack them. Just like the monsters that CP0 was fighting at that same time. And Haku tries to kick him, but didn't work because it's a hologram. Just like when Luffy tried attacking him, it couldn't hit him. So 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢 really seems like she knows a lot more about this island than she's giving off. She knew that that monster was a hologram, and as soon as Haku tried to go above the clouds, he moonwalked over, or airwalked, I mean, he got hit by lasers. But Stussy already knew that as well. So I wonder what else she's going to be hiding, because Stussy always seems to be the one that's most informed when it comes to these arcs, like in Whole Cake Island. She was informed about the box that Big Mom had. So Rob Lucci's like, can you inform us beforehand before we do something dumb like this again? Because every time something keeps happening to Kaku, you keep saying it right after. So in my opinion, they have like a really funny dynamic, and I can't wait till this is animated into the anime. So as they're having this conversation, Atlas, as we know, she seems to be someone that's hot-tempered, just like Lilith, but she seems to have power to back it up. Instead of using machines as her main way of attacking, she's running up to CP0 and she's readying her ultra mighty punch. But before she's able to do that, Rob Lucci enters his hybrid form and he uses Rokuogan, and everybody around the island is like, Master Atlas, no mercy at all, huh? So she's on the floor. She seems to be destroyed because, as we know, she is a cyborg, but she's still alive. And Rob Lucci is very confused about this. He's like, how is she still alive? And as that happens, Luffy uses his Gomu no rocket and launches himself up to that area, and Rob Lucci and Luffy make eye contact, and then that's the end of the chapter. And I honestly thought this chapter was amazing. I literally was waiting for this chapter for 2 weeks. I know you guys were as well, and that 1 week break honestly makes sense because this chapter had so much action and it was very informative. And honestly, it has me on my toes waiting for next chapter because this chapter is so good. So overall, I give it a 10 out of 10. Not 9 out of 10 like the last chapter, but a 10 out of 10. Just because of the build-up. Like, the build-up was amazing. The learning of Vegapunk's dream was amazing. And it honestly, just like I said before, it seems like everybody that meets Luffy wants to explain their dream if they are a good guy or someone that's willing to work with Straw Hat, right? And I think this is because he is the warrior of liberation. He just brings it out of these individuals. And I think that's just an amazing power because, as we know, he has the most terrifying power on the seas. Just like Mihawk said, the power to make friends from his own enemies. So I'm wondering if maybe Rob Lucci is going to attack him, or if they're going to be friendly towards one another. I'm hoping they're not going to be friendly, just because Rob Lucci, I want to see what he has become and how strong he is now. Because in One Piece Stampede, he was going up against Sabo and they were having some encounters, fighting back and forth, but they didn't have a all-out fight. And they were going toe-to-toe and they were fine with one another. But Luffy is at Emperor caliber now. So if somebody's able to match that level, hopefully it's Rob Lucci. Hopefully he got stronger, and hopefully we get a whole bunch of fights this arc, especially within the next chapter. Hopefully we see Kuma get to the island, and we see the Revolutionary Army meet up with Luffy and the Straw Hats on Egghead Island, because they're going after Kuma as well. But we're gonna have to see that next chapter, hopefully. But I just want to say I thank you all, and I appreciate you all for checking out this video. I thank you all for getting the channel to 48 subscribers. You guys are all amazing, and I appreciate you all. And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to leave a like. If you guys want more content, y'all best subscribe and hit the notification bell so you guys are informed about what new content is out. And don't forget the comments, let me know what you guys want to see and how you guys feel about the chapter. Now, it's your boy Young Usopp, and I'm gone.
Tears on your feet, yeah, that's so good.